everyone, and welcome to today's episode of English Conversations Unplugged. I'm Sophia, and joining me is Mason. How's it going, Mason?
Hey Sophia, I'm doing great, thanks. Excited for today's chat. We're diving into a topic that I think everyone can relate to: managing our leisure time and exploring our hobbies. What do you think, Sophia?
Absolutely, Mason. It's such an important topic. We all have different ways of spending our free time, and managing it well can really impact our overall well-being. So, to start things off, let's talk about how we manage our leisure time. What's your approach, Mason?
Well, I had to balance my hobbies with my work and other responsibilities. For me, it's all about scheduling. I use a planner to make sure I carve out time for things I enjoy. How about you, Sophia?
I'm similar. I like to make sure I have a mix of activities planned. It's important for me to have a balance between relaxation and productivity. For instance, I set aside specific times during the week for reading, exercising, and catching up with friends.
That sounds like a good approach. Let's dig into some vocabulary here. When you say balancing your hobbies with work, what do you mean?
Great question. When I talk about balancing, I mean finding a way to manage your time so that you're not overwhelmed by one thing. For example, if I have a busy week at work, I make sure to still find time for my hobbies, but maybe I'll adjust how much time I spend on them.
Exactly. And when you mentioned carving out time, what does that mean?
Carving out time means making a deliberate effort to set aside specific periods in your schedule for certain activities. It's like reserving a spot just for that activity, so it doesn't get lost among other tasks.
I see. Now, let's move on to hobbies. What are some of your favorite hobbies, Sophia?
Oh, I have quite a few. I love reading novels, trying out new recipes, and doing yoga. Each of these hobbies helps me unwind and brings me joy. What about you?
I'm really into hiking, playing the guitar, and photography. I find that spending time outdoors and being creative are great ways to recharge. How do your hobbies fit into your leisure time management?
Well, I schedule time for them just like I do with work tasks. For example, I might plan a weekend hike or a yoga session in the mornings. I find that having these activities planned out helps me look forward to them and makes sure I don't skip them.
That's a great strategy. Let's explain some more vocabulary here. When you say recharge, what does that mean?
Recharge means to restore your energy or enthusiasm. So when I say that hiking or yoga helps me recharge, I mean that these activities help me feel refreshed and more energetic.
Got it. Now, thinking about managing time for hobbies, do you have any tips for our listeners?
Sure, one tip is to prioritize your hobbies. Figure out which activities make you the happiest and make sure they have a spot in your schedule. Another tip is to be flexible. Sometimes things come up, and it's okay to adjust your plans as long as you keep those hobbies as a part of your routine.
Great advice. I'd add that setting small, achievable goals for your hobbies can also be motivating. For example, if you love painting, set a goal to finish a painting in a month. It keeps you engaged and gives you something to look forward to.
I love that idea. Mason goals can definitely keep us motivated and make our leisure time more fulfilling.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to remember that managing leisure time isn't just about scheduling. It's also about being mindful and present during those activities.
That's a wonderful point. Enjoying the moment can make our hobbies much more rewarding.
Well, Sophia, this has been a fantastic discussion. I think we've covered a lot of great tips and vocabulary.
Agreed, Mason. It's been a pleasure talking about how we manage our leisure time and explore our hobbies. Now, we talked about managing leisure time and balancing hobbies with other responsibilities. We're going to dive deeper into how hobbies enrich our lives and share some personal stories. Ready to jump in, Mason?
Absolutely, Sophia. I'm excited to explore more about how hobbies can make our lives more fulfilling. Let's start by discussing how hobbies can help us relax and reduce stress.
That sounds great. So, Mason, can you share an example of how one of your hobbies helps you unwind after a busy day?
Sure, one of my favorite ways to relax is playing the guitar. After a long day at work, I find that strumming a few chords helps me to forget about the stresses of the day and just enjoy the music. It's like my little escape.
That's wonderful. Mason, playing the guitar is a great way to decompress. When you say it's like your little escape, what do you mean by that?
When I say "I'll escape," I mean that it provides a break from my daily worries. It's a moment when I can focus solely on the music and not think about anything else. It's very calming.
I understand. Now, let's explain some key phrases here. Decompress means to relax and relieve stress. So, when you say playing guitar helps you decompress, it means it helps you relax after a stressful day.
Exactly. And calming means something that makes you feel peaceful and less stressed.
Right. Now, let's talk about how hobbies can also be a source of joy and personal growth. Do you have any hobbies that have taught you something new or helped you grow as a person?
Absolutely. Hiking has been a great teacher for me. It's not just about the exercise. It's about exploring new places and appreciating nature. It's taught me to be patient and to enjoy the journey, not just the destination.
That's a great point. Hiking sounds like it's been very enriching for you. When you mention enjoying the journey, what does that mean?
Enjoying the journey means appreciating the process of something, not just focusing on the end result. For example, when hiking, it's about appreciating the beautiful views along the way, not just reaching the end of the trail.
Wonderful explanation. So, enriching means something that improves or enhances your life. And appreciating means recognizing and valuing something.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about how we can make time for hobbies in our busy lives. Sometimes it can be challenging to fit them into our schedules. How do you make sure you have time for your hobbies, Sophia?
I make a conscious effort to prioritize my hobbies. I schedule them into my weekly planner, so they become a part of my routine. For instance, I set aside Sunday afternoons for baking, which is something I love.
That's a good approach. When you say you prioritize your hobbies, what does that mean?
Prioritize means to give something importance and make sure it gets done. So, by prioritizing my hobbies, I'm making sure they have a place in my schedule and aren't overlooked.
And routine means a regular way of doing things. It helps to have a routine because it makes it easier to fit hobbies into our lives.
Exactly. And sometimes it's about being flexible too. If something comes up, I try to adjust my schedule rather than canceling my hobby time entirely.
Flexibility is key. It's also helpful to combine hobbies with other activities. For example, if you love reading and exercising, you could listen to audiobooks while you work out.
That's a great idea. Mason, combining hobbies can be a fantastic way to make the most of your time. It's all about finding creative ways to fit them in.
Definitely. Now, let's share a personal story. Sophia, do you have a memorable experience related to one of your hobbies?
Yes, I do. One memorable experience was when I joined a cooking class. It was a fantastic way to learn new recipes and meet people who share my passion for cooking. The best part was the sense of accomplishment I felt when I cooked a delicious meal for my family.
That sounds amazing. Joining a class is a great way to connect with others and develop new skills. When you talk about a sense of accomplishment, what does that mean?
A sense of accomplishment is the feeling of pride and satisfaction you get when you achieve something. In this case, cooking a great meal gave me a feeling of success and fulfillment.
Great explanation.
Now, we've already discussed how hobbies can enrich our lives and how to manage them effectively. We'll focus on how to discover new hobbies and the impact they can have on our daily lives. Mason, are you ready to dive into this?
Absolutely, Sophia. Discovering new hobbies can be such an exciting experience. Let's start by talking about how people can find new hobbies. Do you have any tips for discovering new interests?
One great way to discover new hobbies is to explore your passions and interests. Think about what activities you enjoyed as a child or what topics you're curious about now. For instance, if you've always been interested in art, you might want to try painting or drawing.
That's a good approach. It's important to think about what excites you. Sometimes, attending workshops or classes can also be a great way to try out new hobbies. Have you ever tried a new hobby through a class?
Yes, I have. I once took a pottery class, and it was an amazing experience. It gave me a chance to learn a new skill and meet people with similar interests. It's a great way to step out of your comfort zone and explore new possibilities.
That sounds fantastic. When you say, step out of your comfort zone, what do you mean?
Stepping out of your comfort zone means trying something new and different from what you're used to. It's about taking a little risk and being open to new experiences, even if they feel unfamiliar or challenging.
Exactly. And explore new possibilities means to look for new opportunities and interests that you haven't considered before.
Right. Let's also talk about the impact of hobbies on our daily lives. How do you think hobbies influence our overall well-being?
Hobbies have a huge impact on our well-being. They provide a break from routine and help us relax. Engaging in activities we enjoy can also boost our mood and reduce stress. For example, spending time on a hobby can give us a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction.
That's a great point. Boost our mood means to make us feel happier or more positive. And reduce stress means to lessen the feeling of pressure or anxiety.
Exactly. Hobbies also offer a way to connect with others who share similar interests. Whether it's through a club, online community, or social event, hobbies can help us build friendships and social networks.
Absolutely. Connecting with others through hobbies can lead to meaningful relationships and a sense of belonging. When you talk about social networks, what does that mean?
Social networks refer to the people we interact with and the connections we build. It includes friends, family, and acquaintances who share common interests or activities.
That's a good explanation. Now, let's share a personal story about how a hobby has impacted our lives. Mason, do you have a memorable experience related to a hobby?
Yes, I do. I remember when I started photography. I began taking pictures of nature and landscapes. It not only improved my technical skills, but also helped me see the world from a new perspective. It's amazing how a hobby can change the way you view things.
That's a wonderful story. When you say view things from a new perspective, what do you mean?
View things from a new perspective means to see things differently or to gain a new understanding. Photography helped me notice details and appreciate the beauty in everyday scenes that I might have overlooked before.
Exactly. And it's inspiring to hear how a hobby can have such a positive impact on your outlook. Now, we'll be discussing how to stay motivated and committed to our hobbies and explore some creative ideas for incorporating them into our lives. Mason, are you ready to wrap this up?
I'm ready, Sophia. Let's talk about how we can stay motivated to continue with our hobbies. It can be challenging to keep up with them, especially with a busy schedule. What are some strategies you use to stay committed to your hobbies?
One strategy I use is setting specific goals. For example, if I'm learning a new craft, I might set a goal to complete a certain number of projects each month. Having clear goals helps me stay focused and motivated.
That's a great approach. When you say setting specific goals, what do you mean by that?
Setting specific goals means making clear and achievable targets for yourself. Instead of saying, I want to get better at knitting, you could say, I want to knit a scarf by the end of the month. Specific goals give you something concrete to work towards.
Exactly. And having clear and achievable targets means setting goals that are realistic and within reach. It helps you stay motivated and track your progress.
Right. Another way to stay motivated is to find a hobby buddy. Having someone to share your hobby with can make it more enjoyable and keep you accountable. For instance, if you're learning a new language, practicing with a friend can make the experience more fun.
That's a great idea. When you talk about a hobby buddy, what does that mean?
A hobby buddy is someone who shares the same interest or hobby with you. It's a friend or companion who participates in the hobby together, making it more enjoyable and providing support.
Exactly. Now, explore some creative ways to incorporate hobbies into our daily lives. For example, if you love gardening, you could start a small garden at home or even grow herbs in your kitchen.
That's a fantastic idea, Mason. Incorporating hobbies into daily life can be very rewarding. For instance, if you enjoy reading, you might set aside a few minutes each day to read a book or listen to an audiobook during your commute.
Right. And incorporating hobbies into daily life means finding ways to make hobbies a regular part of your routine. It could be as simple as dedicating a small amount of time each day to your hobby.
Exactly. And sometimes it's about being creative with how you fit hobbies into your schedule. If you love painting but don't have much time, you could carry a small sketchbook with you and draw whenever you have a few free minutes.
That's a great tip. Being flexible and creative can help you stay engaged with your hobbies, even with a busy schedule.
Definitely. And remember, the key to enjoying your hobbies is to make them a fun and fulfilling part of your life. It's not about perfection, but about enjoying the process and the personal satisfaction you get from it.
Absolutely. As we wrap up, let's recap some key phrases we've used today. Staying motivated means keeping the drive to continue with your hobbies. Specific goals are clear targets you set for yourself. And Hobby Buddy is a friend who shares your interests.
Right. And incorporating hobbies into daily life means finding ways to include them in your regular routine. And being flexible and creative means adapting your plans to fit your hobbies into your busy schedule.
Perfect summary, Sophia. It's been great discussing these aspects of hobbies and leisure time management. I hope our listeners have found these tips helpful and inspiring.
I agree, Mason. It's been a pleasure exploring these topics with you. We hope everyone feels encouraged to embrace their hobbies and make the most of their leisure time.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. We've enjoyed sharing our experiences and insights with you.
Thank you for tuning in. We look forward to having you with us in our future episodes. Have a wonderful day.